and getting some Arbiters out there. Yep, Arbiter Tribunal. Pardon me, needed some tea. Vultures, meanwhile, not moving up for Iris. They're going to see if there's an expansion that Tempest has set up that they can take advantage. But no, they're actually going to go in for the natural. There are Dragoons there to block them off, so they're not going to be able to do any damage. But they are going to be running around. Should be able to do some damage. There is this expansion. This is 3 o'clock that Tempest has taken down. It is, however, blocked by Pylons. He's done that pretty smartly. He did that last game, although they have been prevented. He has to be very careful to make sure these vultures don't get through. If they mash at those pylons long enough, those pylons will go down. There, of course, with the lack of a forge and upgrades, you're not going to have any cannons, and that's exactly what you need cannons in that situation. So those cannons would definitely discourage those vultures. But he has his Granuza moving in. Lost one Dragoon there to a mine. This vulture's just trying to take pot shots at that pylon there, but with all those mines there, Tempest doesn't really want to risk defending. This is really what I think Tempest needs to do this game, and he needs to get some upgrades out there. He needs his ground forces to have some heavy upgrades going. He has an observer now, finally, so he's going to be able to clear any mines that are going his way. He's going to need to get a lot of observers, and I think his first Arbiter is also like, ooh, another Dragoon lost to a mine there, needlessly. Meanwhile, that ranged Dragoon, I don't think there are mines there anymore, so he's just going to take and kill out these vultures. Meanwhile, Molvos is just running around everywhere, planting mines as much as they can, trying to pin in all these Dragoons, trying to just do a makeshift surround enclosure on Tempest here. Observer's now finally out, so Tempest now going to move out and kill as many of the mines as he can. More vultures even now moving in on that expansion, just trying to kill as much as they can. These Dragoons are moving down now. I think they should be able to move down just in time. There's also a tank there now. Wow, lots of forces. Now Tempest just forced to split his forces apart, try to defend his expansions. Those pylons are definitely going to be able to go down. Actually, those vultures are moving out to defend just in time. Probes could be, oh man, probes could be caught completely off guard there. Tank also going down. Some probes do manage to get inside, some do die. There's still one probe there in the mix, just attacking. And Dragoon's also moving out. Oh, and Dragoon loses to tank there, but loses to a mine. And those vultures should now be finally cleaned up. Not managing to get and do enough damage. One probe there does go down, however, and this base here is just not mining enough. Just going to have 2 probes. Even more vultures are moving out. Iris investing lots and lots of minerals in some tanks and lots of vultures. I don't know if he's going for expansion. I think he actually is going for an expansion at that 8 o'clock location. Meanwhile, even more probes being caught in transition. Oh man, Tempest has to be really careful about this. More probes caught in transition and vultures planting mines everywhere, just trying to pin in on the Dragoons as well as they can. This is, of course, what the Terran player can do. And now he has Iris has 2 vultures moving in inside the main, just trying to do as much damage as they can, but the Arbiter moves over the probes. So I think the vultures managed to get 1 or 2 kills, but the Arbiter moves over the probes in time to make them all invisible, therefore invincible. I think Iris might be spending just a little bit too many minerals on those vultures because his harasses are just not working quite as well. I think he has expanded at this point, definitely should have, and just try to get a larger ground army, get some science vessels going, because he now has Arbiters that he has to face up against. Get a larger tank/vulture army, and definitely get some Goliaths out there. I don't know if he has any armories yet or not. Iris just trying to set up certain positions in so he can push in on Tempest here. He has turrets being set up, so that's especially against all the Arbiters. And now that just as the turrets finally coming up, just at this time Tempest decided to move in using the Arbiter for those, but there is a turret there in time for detection. Those Dragoons moving in, trying to engage once again. Mines going off on a bunch of those Dragoons. Arbiter, however, in time, still turret there, firing at that Arbiter. The turret is definitely going to allow those tanks to shell the Dragoons, although I think Tempest is actually winning this battle. Ooh, only 3 Dragoons left. 4 Dragoons left against that tank. 3 Dragoons now. Just being very careful, trying to take out that turret. Ooh, just managed to take out the turret. Although, ooh, 1 more shot goes off, and 2 Dragoons now left to take out this SCV there and that tank. So some heavy damage done to Tempest, although even higher damage done to Iris. Tempest at this point should be mining almost fully from that new base of his, and Iris should be mining a lot from that 8 o'clock base of his. Now tanks moving in, they're going to try to, in a good position to shell, going to use those vultures, definitely also moving in with a bunch of vultures to block those tanks. Tanks trying to set themselves in a pretty good position, and now those tanks being blocked, and vultures, nothing to defend. Observer as well as Dragoons now moving in there, just trying to do as much damage as he can. Oh man, bunch of Dragoons, but all these Dragoons actually, while trying to move in, all get taken out. You see, he can't push in without into this position with too many Dragoons, although he does have enough force to completely clean this up. The turret doesn't go up in time, so Iris again losing a lot of forces. He needs to maybe he needs to switch up some tactics rather than do heavy aggression, heavy, harassment aggression, which is his style, mind you. Maybe you should switch up to slightly more macro and try to get like a large. I can't believe I just said like. God, I can't believe I said I can't believe again. I must have some sort of Alzheimer's disease. Meanwhile, a recall going off here. Wow, perfect recall from Iris here. I did not see that. And now just an absolute recall, perfect recall right into the main. All those SCVs are doomed. We're going to see whether they manage to take out some sort of tag. They had a bunch of Dragoons, some Zealots in the mix as well. SCVs just all get taken down just as they're trying to mine. So that's a perfect recall there from Tempest. Iris have been trying to do some economic damage the entire game, not really managing to do any heavy damage, but with one recall, Tempest does insane damage. All these forces are going to get cleaned up. You see, wow, large puddle of Dragoons blood right there in the middle. He shouldn't be managed to do too much tech damage, but he definitely will take out some forces. Is take out all the SCVs. Now going to focus on this armory. This armory might actually go down before it manages to give Iris any upgrades. Scan going off and mines being planted, so those mines should be able to finish off those Dragoons. Although that one mine that got planted, we get on attacks finally moving in with Goliaths as well. So the Arbiter is in danger. Arbiter just barely managed to survive because the Goliaths did not have Terran boosters. The Arbiter barely managed to survive, although all those Dragoons die. But perfect harassment there from Tempest. I was talking about something and completely lost it because Tempest, awesome recall. Tempest has now spotted this 8 o'clock base, so he might be thinking of doing some even more counter harassment of his own. And now finally moving out with the force of Arbiters and Dragoons. There's Observer there, though, so he has to be very careful of this mine. He has to fly his Observer first, because make sure he doesn't get caught very badly. Some tanks in the position in the middle, definitely ready to meet and say hello to those lovely forces of Tempest. Meanwhile, one Dragoon just going out, getting a scout there to see what he can do. Maybe it was thought that simply not to sacrifice his Observer, because there was a turret there, of course, that would have taken out pretty quickly. Meanwhile, another expansion we can go down, but Tempest, just being caught in the perfect position by those vultures, the command center and the pylon instantly being cancelled. So Tempest playing smartly. Unfortunately, some minerals there lost. Maybe you should have tried to wall off before you tried to set up an expansion. Meanwhile, these vultures, are going to be able to caught, not managing to plant any mines. Someone getting down. Now a forge. I finally see a forge from Tempest. Should have upgrades going. It did do some damage. I think he took down that armory. I forget. I'm sorry. I have Alzheimer's. Well, not really, but I might. I don't know. Meanwhile, now so much damage being done, and still an Arbiter just sitting out there waiting for a chance to recall one more day. Just waiting probably for his shields to recover again, because he has like 10 health and 50 shields. An Observer moving in there, just trying to see the positioning, but that Arbiter is definitely going to be able to move in for a recall with those 4 turrets there, and Goliaths as well. The metallic sound you hear is my spoon swirling around my teacup. So 3 bases for each player. Tempest has been trying to expand again and done some serious damage to Iris's economy, so that's been very well. So he's definitely in a definite economic advantage. Iris has been harassing as much as he can, but just not managing to do too much damage. Vultures were trying to move up, but easily going to move back when they saw that one Arbiter. We're going to see whether that's a recall. That could actually be a recall on that 8 o'clock base. There are not enough forces moving in. And meanwhile, another Arbiter also moving into the main. So this could be a fake out. No, actually not a fake out. Just a main recall right into this 8 o'clock base. Goliaths and tanks and vultures moving in from the back. We're going to see a scan also going off. We're going to see, though, if Tempest managed to do a lot of economic damage. You just see a lot of SCVs going down. They're going to also focus fire on the command center. Might be thinking of trying to take out the command center, not engaging the SCVs. SCVs trying to desperately engage the Dragoons, but trying to repair that command center. Once again, the command center is going to go down. Command center goes down. Iris loses the command center. Meanwhile, a recall also in the main. 2 Arbiters flying in there. Going to try to engage, see if they can take out any tech and supply. Meanwhile, those Dragoons at the 8 o'clock are still alive. Arbiter running around with Zealots to support, going to take out some SCVs as well, and just going to be able to take out some production buildings. Has some Dragoons now, and Zealots moving in downwards, try to engage these tanks that have been sieging out. Those tanks both so heavily damaged, both those tanks going to be able down. Vultures and Goliaths moving in to defend as well as they can, but no, I think Iris is in just such big trouble now. His main has been recalled twice. Just such heavy economic damage has been done to him, and it's going to be a serious toll on him now. Still some Zealots running around. No upgrades for either player. Oh my god. Usually you see some upgrades, but no upgrades for either player. Still some Zealots running around. There is a Science Vessel now, finally, to spot, but that Arbiter's still in there, flying around. I was trying to expand again at that, what is that, 6:30 o'clock, something like that, 6 o'clock, 6:30. So he's trying to equalize this by getting more bases, although I don't think that's the answer. Another recall going off! Jeez.